Drink it in, drink it in, drink it in, man.
It is picked off by the line. Darius Slay's got it. Coming back right side 25. Picks up a block at the 30. Darius at the 40.
Drink it in, drink it in. Drink it in, drink it in, drink it in, man.
Rolls to the right. Stafford throws deep. Got a man out there. End zone. Caught. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Marvin Jones.
Stafford! Drink it in, drink it in.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Cornbread.
Stafford! Drink it in, drink it in, drink it in, man.
Detroit Kool-Aid, what is going on, everybody? We are back, and normally this is when I introduce Grifka on the show, but today we've got a special guest on the show. We got the one and only, a lifetime Dallas Cowboy fan here to do the Cowboys-Lions review. The one and only Chuck Dog is in the building. Chuck Dog, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, man, I'm so happy to have you. I know we're going to have some battles today because you're on the other side of the coin, but we've been doing these game reviews, and I was like, oh, man, I got to get Chuck on the show to rep his Cowboys and talk about this football game, so it should be fun.
Absolutely.
Grifka, what's going on, buddy? We got to get you in on the show. The people love you, man.
Hey, man, just glad to be back, man. Sorry I missed out the last couple podcasts.
Yeah, man, somehow we made it without you. I don't know how it happened, but we were able to get through. But we're back here today. Normally we're kicking off with our news and notes. But before we get into that, fellas, like, what the freak is going on with this weather? Are you kidding me? My phone's saying -8, -12 all day. I mean, this is ridiculous, right?
Oh, yeah, it's cold, man. It's really cold.
And we're breaking me and Grifka's rule because we don't ever talk about anything other than football. But, like, this is just ridiculous. So, like, me and Chuck Dog, remember you showed me eBay way back in the day. Remember that? Where you're like, oh, man, I sell on eBay all the time. You showed me the ropes. Remember that back when I came over your place?
I do remember all that.
So thanks to that, man, I've been selling for decades. So, of course, today on the coldest day of the year, somebody buys an eBay item, a Tom Brady jersey, and they need it, like, tomorrow. So they're like, hey, can you ship that out? I'm like, I guess so. So I run out in the freezing cold. We're closed with work. Everything's shut down. I'm working from home. I bundle up. I go outside. The minute I step out the door, I swear, my iPhone freezes, goes off, dead. I'm just like, oh, this is great. So I make my way up to the post office. Get this, fellas. The post office, this is like 3 p.m. I'm thinking, okay, I'll get there. It's all packaged up. I'll give it to the bum behind the counter, and we'll get this thing out to this guy. The post office has a note on the door, closed at 3, severe weather. Like, last time I checked, isn't it neither rain nor sleet nor snow? Isn't that their creed? Like, how do you close the post office?
That's Spectrum Communications. We're the only ones that stay open the whole time.
Man, somebody's...
Table, man.
Yeah, I guess so.
Somebody's got to stay open. I mean, I thought the post office was the one place that would still be open, but sure enough, I drive out, my phone freezes, I'm freezing to death, and the dang thing is closed. So I was able to drop it in the bin, but hopefully that stuff gets going. But man, and I saw on Sunday it's gonna be 40. Like, are you kidding me? Like, Michigan, ridiculous.
Right.
But,
yep.
like I say, enough talk about the weather, fellas. Like, we got a huge game on Sunday. It's called the Super Bowl. Like, Chuck Dog, I'll throw it to you first. Like, we'll get Grifka in here in a minute. What are you thinking about this Super Bowl, Rams-Patriots?
Man, I tell you one thing, man. I give him all the respect I can give him in Tom Brady, but, man, I am tired of seeing this dude in the Super Bowl. It's
the greatest of all time.
You can't argue with that. Obviously not a Michigan fan. You guys know that, but, man, this guy seems to win all the time. And, I'm going to root for the Rams just because, it's against Brady, but I have a feeling Brady's going to get, his 6th Super Bowl here.
All right, so Chuck Dog's an official hater. Grifka, what about you? What do you think about this game?
Well, first thing, you better get the bell out because I just want you to recall, people, you can go back and listen. If you remember when we did our picks before the season, we asked who would win the Super Bowl or who was going. I said Patriots-Rams. Look it up. And I predicted the Patriots. So all I have to say is, once again, like you said, it's the GOAT. And he seems just always you pull something out of the fire. I know people are like, well, he was one interception away from going home, or one offsides and defensive offsides. He'd be sitting on the beach right now. But still, I mean, a few of those passes he did against Kansas City, he just, like Chuck said, he always seems to make the play when he needs to. So, I'm never tired of seeing Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. I know everybody's like, everybody hates the Patriots. Nope, I don't. So, I'll be rooting for the Patriots and Tom Brady.
So, Chuck Dog, you're one of the millions and millions of the Detroit Kool-Aid listeners, but you know that Grifka on every show, especially he pulls out the times when he's right or makes a prediction. So that's a classic Grifka. He got one right, so he brings it up on the podcast. That's a double bell for you, Grifka, for self-promotion and bringing that back up. But I do give you credit. You did get it right. So for me, I'll just be short with it. I mean, again, Chuck, I'm on the other side of the coin, man. Tom Brady, the greatest of all time. Like, it's just fun to watch greatness. I was a Jordan fan growing up. Aren't you a Jordan hater too?
Me? No.
Oh, okay.
I'm a LeBron hater.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we like you again, and that's good. But whenever you watch the best do something, it's awesome. So people can say they're getting sick of it, but man, the way this guy just wins, and watching him in that AFC Championship game, he's just making incredible throws in the biggest moments. I just think it's awesome. And like you say, a Michigan man, that's always great too. But it's just fun to see him, and I think the Rams will put up a good fight. I mean, they got an incredible offense, and I'm hoping for a fun Super Bowl. The last couple have been incredible, so I'm hoping for another big game on Sunday. So should be good stuff. So with that being our overall thoughts, fellas, I thought I'd pull a couple prop bets that we could look at just to have a little fun before we dive into this Dallas Cowboys review. You guys up for this?
Sure.
So they got all these crazy bets. These are pretty simple ones, but I just broke out a few. I want to get your take on it. So one of the prop bets is longest TD of the game, over or under 49 and a hook, 49 and a half yards. We'll throw this one to Grifka first. Grifka, what do you think? We're going to get a touchdown longer than 49 and a half?
No. I mean, I'll keep it short and simple. No.
All right. Well, thank you, Chuck. What do you think, man?
Oh yeah, there's always a touchdown in the Super Bowl that's longer than that. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the over on that one.
Yeah, man, I'm going to go with you. The way these two teams scheme up things, I think you're going to sneak somebody behind the defense in this game at some point. I don't think there'll be, multiple, but I think we're pretty destined to have one deep touchdown. This doesn't say pass. I mean, these running backs do crease one. You just never know. So I'm going over as well. Grifka, you're on your own on that one. Total pass attempts by TB12. We got over or under 37 and a hook. Chuck, what do you think?
That was for both teams combined?
No, Tom Brady pass attempts, 37 and a half.
37 and a half. I'm going to say under, because I think the Patriots going to come out and run this football with their three-headed monster they got back there. Belichick, he likes to put a surprise running back in there, and that running back just seems to, do his thing. And so I'm going to say under.
Right. I'm surprised they haven't brought up somebody from like the practice squad who'll be like the MVP of the game running the ball, which how does a team that has Tom Brady run the ball sort of the way they do? It's just crazy. So Grifka, what do you think?
Gee, I kind of want to say the same thing, that they're going to try to run the ball to keep that Rams offense off the field. But it seems like when you think of one way with the Patriots, they come out and do the exact opposite. And, it's one of those things that I always thought the Rams could be passed on as well. I know their run defense hasn't been good all year, but gosh, yeah, I think I'm going to say the same thing though. I think they're going to hedge their bet and say that the Rams' run defense wasn't very good all year, and they're going to try doing that again. So yeah, I'll go under on that as well.
All right. Well, with me on this one, I mean, I see. Sometimes when you think there's going to be lots of points put up, it becomes one of those, 17-10 games. But, based on what I saw from Rams Chiefs, that was just ridiculous. So I see this game being big scoring across the board. Give me the over on this. I mean, I think when it comes down to that late third, fourth quarter, they'll keep the ball in Brady's hands and just do what he does, man. Just slinging around those short passes where he's just pinpoint accurate. So I think he'll probably throw it 40 sometimes. All right, just got two more quick ones here. Super Bowl MVP. We've got Tom Brady or the field. Grifka, what do you got?
if the Patriots win, I think it's going to become one of those things where people don't want to vote for him, kind of like how people don't want to do it with the Oscars. They don't want to give out so many of them. So if they win, I think somebody's going to just they'll end up voting for somebody else and not give him another one. So I'll take the field.
Chuck, what do you think?
Well, I'm gonna get a little more specific than what Grifka did. I'm gonna say the Rams are gonna win this one, and I'm gonna say C.J. Anderson gets the MVP. Watch.
Come on.
I'm gonna go with an oddball. It happens every couple of years.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is oddball, man. CJ Anderson's not getting MVP, man.
Dude,
he's got a nice story.
He's like a bowling ball.
I bet you. Oh, come on. I bet you he has a very limited role in this game. I'd expect like Gurley to show back up and for them to have to pass the ball a ton too to be in this game. I know you're just rooting out of spite for them to win, but if they win, Jared Goff and those weapons will have to be big. But come on, fellas. Give me Tom Brady in the field. It's like, remember when Jordan, every time he's in the finals, was it ever Pippen the MVP or Horace Grant? No.
Should have been.
It was 23. So, oh, man. Give me Tom Brady all day. I memean, if he wins this game and plays anywhere decent, they just automatically give it to the guy.
But that's an easy pick, though, Derek. I mean, going with Tom Brady, I mean –
I'm going Tom Brady across the board, man, because I just feel like he has come up short in a couple Super Bowls. But, I mean, like you say, he knows that his whole legacy, everything's on the line. He's only got a couple more of these. Like, Jared Goff could be playing for, another decade or so. So he's going to be back in this game. Those guys don't have to worry about that. But Tom Brady knows he needs this one. So I just think it's going to be like a clean sweep. He's going to have crazy stats, win the ball game, and take home the hardware too. So
safe pick.
Yeah. It's like golf, right? It's just you got that one golfer of the field, and sometimes that one golfer does it. So we'll see what happens. So I got a couple different picks than you. Last one I want to do was kind of a fun one. I was trying to pull up some other fun ones, but I just didn't find a ton. But this is always a classic, man. National anthem. How long's that thing gonna go? We got Gladys Knight with the pipes here singing the national anthem. We got under a minute 50. I mean, tell me that you fellas don't watch these, and if you got anything riding or a little bit of fun on a play like that, you're just hoping that she goes with the short version or the long version, depending on which side you're on. But a minute 50, man, I'm taking the over. I bet you she just tries to show off, and goes about 2 and some change on this national anthem. Chuck, what do you think?
Oh, I'm absolutely with you. Well over. This is in Atlanta. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well over.
Oh, there's gonna be some theatrics when you.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be some tunes that last a few seconds for sure.
Sometimes you don't even realize it's the anthem when they're halfway through. You're like, is this some other song?
I usually
remix.
I usually go get my snack and a drink, man.
Yeah, that's a time to fuel up when these singers get going. You're just like, oh my goodness. Grifka, minute 50, over or under. You need to make up some ground here, I think, on these bets.
Oh, it's a sweep. I mean, she's going over minute 50. I mean, like you said, she's going to put a little soul into it, and it is in Atlanta. So, yeah, it's over minute 50. That's easy.
So real quick before we dive into the game, so I had to double look. So it's Gladys Knight, but her spelling is Gladys on the site that I saw, like Gladys. Like, that just doesn't look right when you put it on paper. I got to say, Gladys, that's just maybe that's how all Gladyses spell it, but I don't know many Gladyses, and it looks really weird when you look at it on paper. So, since we all went over, let's do a quick, how much time? I'm going to go with 2:25. Grifka.
2:15.
I'll meet you guys in the middle at 2:20.
All right, man. He's going like 2:45
right.
with some crazy piano or something going on.
Is she singing with the Pips?
I don't know, man. Who knows? Probably Timberlake will probably show up or something.
I'll add 30 seconds if she's singing with the Pips.
They always come back to the mic, man, no doubt. All right, well, that was fun. Just kind of get us kicked off here. So, Chuck, man, I totally wanted to say thank you again for coming on the show, man. It's fun to get a new voice and a passionate Cowboys fan. I mean, the Kool-Aid drinkers are probably going to hate you, so I don't know if you want to throw out your Twitter handle or your email, but they might come after you after some of the things you say on this podcast. But let's dive into this football game, man.
All right, let's do
the
it.
Fourth game of the year. Lions heading to Jerry Dome. I mean, before we even talk about it, is it just me, or have the Lions and the Cowboys hooked up like 7 out of the last 10 years? It seems like we're always going to Jerry Dome. They played here like once or twice, but it feels like we've played you guys a ton.
Yeah, it
Is
seems
just
like a
me?
rivalry, man. It's turning into a rivalry. Like we play you guys every year, it seems like.
Right. It's like when the Lions had that awkward rivalry against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, when
Right.
they had that mixed-up division. It was like, why are we rivals with this team that's all the way down in mid-Florida? It makes no sense. But, yeah, I think it's been a rivalry as well. Grifka, you on the same page? Like, we played these bums a bunch, don't you think?
Yeah, I don't know why. It seems like every year there's certain teams the Lions always end up playing. One's Dallas and one's the Arizona Cardinals, no matter what. It seems like those are the two teams that we always get against the old NFC East. So
Yeah.
this is how it seems.
Yeah, it's a great place to go. I mean, I was lucky enough to go down there in person and check that stadium out. It's incredible, and it's one of those stadiums where it's packed with 100,000, but it's one that I like our team to go to because you can sling it around in the dome, and just a fun atmosphere. So, Grifka, let me kick it over to you. So we're going to kind of work our way through this game. Just kind of talk about. Let's kind of start with where it started. We all kind of watched it or pulled up some clips on YouTube. Let's start this game off. What'd you think?
Well, I mean, just rewatching it, with I guess a little more time, to kind of go back and rewatch plays and just point out some things. But it seemed, once again, like Kenny Galladay, he had some nice catches. As you had touted him, been touting him for a while now. He's got a good set of hands, seems to get open, and it seems like the Dallas defense, put more of their defensive backs towards, Jones and Golden Tate. So Galladay, got open, had some nice tough catches there. And as usual, it seemed like the Lions had trouble covering tight ends, and Swain, had a couple times he was just wide open, once for a touchdown. And we've always discussed how Lions have trouble guarding tight end, and he's the one who went off that week. And then the Lions had
Hold on.
What's that?
This is where I have to take Grifka to task, Chuck. Swain didn't go off. I just watched this game. I think he had maybe 3 catches during the game. He had the one, like you say, that the Lions never cover, where it's like 3rd and 1 from the 1, and we just can't ever guard a tight end that just sneaks out of the backfield. I mean, did he really blow up, Grifka, or did he have a couple plays that he made?
Okay, I guess he had a couple plays where I guess you're not expecting Swain to make the catch.
Jeff Swain's all-pro, baby.
I guess you're right. He didn't go off like Ed Dixon 2 years ago, but Ed Dixon at least has some sort of name as a tight end where people have heard of him. Nobody's heard of Swain. I don't even know this guy's first name. Chuck, help me out.
Jeff?
Thank you. I don't even know this guy's name. I just read the back of his jersey as he was blowing by the slow Lions linebackers and standing wide open in the end zone, pointing at the fans, waiting for the ball to be thrown to him. So, anyways, moving on.
Well, he had 3 catches for 39 and a touch, so you're right. He really killed us. But
that's 10 yards a catch for a tight end.
All right, so
that's
go ahead.
Not bad. That's not bad. That's more than what Levine Delolo had, or Luke Wilson, his one catch up the sideline for 8 yards or whatever he had. So,
like Chuck said, future Pro Bowler per Grifka. Write that down.
All pro, baby.
All pro. Mike Grifka said so.
Swain? No, it's the other guy. What was that? What's that other guy's name?
For who?
Jarwin?
Blake Jarwin?
Yeah, Blake Jarwin.
You could leave that dude alone.
He's the greatest Cowboys tight end ever, but we can go into that later. See, I don't follow the Cowboys like Chuck. He knows all the names.
All right.
Once again,
he's waiting to give you an education, but I had to jump in on you there for a second. So go ahead. You got about a couple more minutes, and then I'm letting the Cowboy guy get after it here.
Okay. Well, just point a couple things out. Lions once again had an awful lot of penalties on defense. Couple calls there. The one on Okwara, that roughing the QB where Dak Prescott accidentally fell down and stood up. And then they called the roughing the passer because he just standing there. That was a terrible call. Golden Tate had a couple nice catches. Your boy Cole Beasley was wide open in the second half, way too much because nobody wanted to guard him.
Grifka,
what?
Hold on. I got to go back to this call.
You want me to go through this, but then
Yeah, Yeah, well, when you say stuff, I either have to stop you for stupidity or I have to cue you up. So you're talking about this penalty call on Aquara. This is a perfect time to remind the Kool-Aid drinkers of why there was maybe a penalty on Aquara in Dallas against the Cowboys. 1, 2, 3, go.
Oh, you mean because it's the Cowboys and they get every call in Dallas? Thank you.
Yeah, who else gets calls in the NFL?
He just said he doesn't follow the Cowboys, but yet he thinks that they get every call.
Because he's got to finish his tagline. Griff could go with the other teams that get all the calls.
Oh, you mean Pittsburgh and Green Bay and New England and let's see. I think the Rams are starting to fall under that too. If you listen to all the New Orleans Saints fans, but there you go.
Okay, you gotta get that in, especially when Chuck's on here. Remind him of why his team has a couple Super Bowls and why they win, because they get all the calls. That's what you say every show.
Because in 1979 they were dubbed America's team.
You can't skip it when he's on here and not go with your gimmicks.
I'm just trying to blow stuff by him, man. That's what it is. So he can go, wait, huh? What?
All right. Well, like you say, you got any other points here you want to run through?
Yeah, just a couple more props for a couple guys on that Cowboys defense. And Lawrence once again, great defensive end. Lions had a tough time with him, and Van.
Sky's blue.
What's that?
The sky's blue, Grifka, and water's wet. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, well, here's one for you. Van Der Esch, he's like a rookie, and I'll pull a Derek Oakrey right here. This guy's going to be awesome. He's going to be great. He's cheap. The Cowboys are going to, he's great. He's never going to leave the field. Put a bust in can right now. Van Der Esch, awesome. There
you go. I agree with you. You should go back and listen to old Kool-Aid cast before the draft when I said the Lions should take Van Der Esch, and everybody laughed at me, and the Big Hughes was like, who? And so go back and listen to those shows. So.
Okay.
But yeah, Lawrence is good, Grifka.
Well, you're the one that was questioning him on the podcast. You didn't know how good he was when we talked about it. And you're like, yeah, I don't know. Is he any good? I'm like, oh,
he's really good, guys.
He's good.
He's really good.
I don't think so. You might want to go pull that tape.
Yes, please do. Because when I went over to Chuck's that day to watch the game with him, he's just like, yeah, tell Derek he's good. I'm like, yeah, I know. But, it's okay. It's
but did you tell him?
Yeah, I told him.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. There you go. Those are my spots on the game.
Okay, so those are Grifka's quick hits. I guess Chuck, you can give me some thoughts on this game, but I want to walk through. I got a few starred items here. I want to walk it through, like kind of start to end with a couple bullets. But Chuck Dog, what do you think when you watch this game? You can give some quick hits. You can kind of summarize it, whatever you want to do.
Well, I overall, I thought that it was a good game. It was a close game. If it wasn't for Zeke, the Cowboys wouldn't have been this game at all.
Yeah.
So, it's once again, Golden Tate. I call it Golden Tate when he was with the Lions. He's a Cowboy killer. This guy, every time when he's with the Lions and he plays Dallas, he has a phenomenal game. And I think he had like 8 catches, 2 touchdowns, and 130 some yards as well in this game.
Yeah, he was real good.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem with maybe against the Lions is I don't understand why they took Carry-On out of the game. Carry-On he had like 6 yards of carry, running the ball hard, looking good, and then they decided to bring in LeGarrette Blount, who averages like a yard of carry. I mean, he's so slow. I don't understand why you guys kept giving him the ball. I guess I'd give it to him on the 1 yard line.
Where Carry-On Johnson busted off that run, and then they took him out and put Blunt in, and he didn't do anything. So, yeah. And then, I think Beasley hurt you guys on a lot of key third down game calls. And, I thought it was an overall pretty good game, but I think Grifka's got to remember that, Roger Goodell does not like the Cowboys. So the Cowboys do not get all these calls that he says.
Get them.
Whatever.
So you got to remember which owner.
I busted my coffee table when Marion Barber had his dreads pulled for
oh my
tackle.
God.
I called a horse collar. And then
Dude, that was 19.
The Cowboys scored because that's right, because they would have stopped him on third down.
Your kids weren't even born then.
Yeah, they don't get calls.
You gonna bring up something from 1992? Really?
Yes. And
That's what,
of course, because it's just a pattern. And don't get me wrong. Hey, here's one. I love the playmaker, just like I know you love the playmaker. But that guy pushed off all the time, man.
Oh, that's where Grifka goes to the well. So
Right.
battle him back, Chuck Dog. What do you got to say about that?
What about when we're watching the game and all of a sudden we see this Cowboys helmet go flying in the backfield? Joe Looney's helmet just surprisingly comes off. They show the replay, and I think it was your defensive tackle from Alabama's got his hands like inside of his eyeballs. No call there, but we'll just keep it at that.
That's because they were too busy watching Cole Beasley get wide open in the defensive backfield, and their jaws were dropped. How he was so wide open, but so they missed that one.
Hey,
but
Cole
I mean, we
Beasley
don't have to bring up the most memorable missed call of all time, where they actually moved the ball. The lines were lined up on offense, and then the refs come in. Wait, there wasn't a penalty on that. Or let's just pick it up and move it back the 20 yards on that. So that playoff game. Yeah, you're right. That never happened either. So.
Oh, you mean the one that he face masked him on? Yeah, I remember that play.
He face masked him on. You mean where? Who was
you talking about Petadrop?
Yeah, Petadrop, where he didn't face mask him at all because who was it? Who was even covering there?
Hitchens?
I mean, was it Randy White or?
You're gonna sit there and complain about stuff and not know nothing?
That's because I'm trying to put it out of my mind.
That's go-to. Hey, but oh man, I could listen to this for days. But like you say, I think we'll get to some of those topics here in a minute. But
all right,
yeah,
go ahead.
There's definitely some heat there from previous years. So let me break this down. Both of you guys had good points, good quick hits. So just a couple things I had starred, like you guys sort of already hit on it. Like Kerryon Johnson on the first play of the game rips off like a 30-yard run. I mean, this guy is just he's got power, he's got speed. So I put that down as about a 30-yard run. I'm looking at his stat line now. He ended the game with 55 yards. Like you said, they went to LeGarrette Blount, 7 carries for 12 yards. Like, you kidding me? Like, that was a big kind of misstep by the Lions in this game.
Yeah, that was a 38-yarder by Kerryon.
Yeah, 38. And then he didn't do anything, but like you said, they didn't really keep him in the flow of the game, so that really hurt the Lions. When I went back and watched this game too, like Chuck said, I mean, this was a good football game. This was close throughout, a couple big plays by each team back and forth. I mean, it was just quality. I thought it was one of those where, Chuck's super happy because they won. We were pissed that we lost, but man, it was a good back and forth. So let me run through a couple of these bullets real quick. Like GT's touchdown. I mean, he just absolutely made the Cowboys look silly. I mean, Heath looked like he was stuck in mud. That first one, they threw it down the right side. Like, Golden Tate just caught it. And, Chuck gave props to Golden Tate. Like, Grifka loves Golden Tate and never wanted to trade him. Just keep him here till he's 40 and pay him, $15 million a year. But, it's so weird how he catches the ball and, just starts to run. He's not really doing anything. And then he just runs by the whole defense for a touchdown. He's done that a few times now in his career. So that was just a crazy play right there. I've got here Zeke was just grinding out yards on every touch. I felt like every time he was falling forward for good yards. And then he also got a couple screen balls and a couple plays that were big. Golden Tate, if you guys watched it back, when he made that catch, I want to say it was a first down play. Made a nice little hands catch, and then when he got up, he acted like he couldn't get the football off his gloves and had to use his foot to get it off. That was a classic little celebration there by GT. Just absolutely great stuff. And then your boy, Chuck, Jason Garrett, gets challenge happy early in the game. He wins one challenge, so on the next play, he thinks he'll challenge again. He loses it by this early second quarter. He's out of challenges for the whole game. Way to go, Carrot Top.
Right. Mr. Clapper.
That was classic. Not only the clapping, this isn't on my, but now that you bring it up, why does Jason Garrett every time, it doesn't matter when it is, but every time he's on camera and every play, he moves his headpiece and he spits and then he puts his headgear back up? Am I the only one that doesn't see or sees this? That's just weird right there that he does that every play. But and the clappings are ridiculous too.
Don't get me started on him.
Yeah, we might have to talk about him here in a minute. But so I thought that GT was just a great celebration, great touchdown. I've got here, Grifka hit on it. I thought that was a weak call on Aquara. I mean, I thought he did enough to put Dak on his knee. Then he pops up, and of course, so we're gonna finish the play too. We hit him. But there was a call, I think it was on Slay or one of our corners for illegal contact, so it wouldn't really mattered when I went back and watched it. But I remember being real annoyed by that call when the game happened. On the touchdown to Zeke, the little screen pass, I mean, I got here in big bold letters, JD just gets killed by Zach Martin for about 30 yards down the field, just absolutely worked him. That was tough to watch. I put here Lions just weren't tough enough tackling, blocking for that first half, even though it was 13-10 Cowboys. Just a couple other things I had here. The Zeke big play that he had, like Sly Williams is just a lazy piece of garbage. Like he just totally missed the tackle, and then Zeke ran for 30 or 40 on that play. I've got here a 4th and 1. Zeke, they went for it on 4th and 1. Tell me this wasn't the big play of the game, boys. Like 4th and 1, they're going for it right down on their goal line there. They give it to Zeke. He plows forward for the first down, but he coughs up the football. Of course, the Lions are nowhere to be found. The Cowboys pick it up. Not only do they get the first down, but then they just, I think they threw it to Swain on the next play to make it 20-10.
All pro, baby. All pro.
Yep. Put him in Canton. And then I got here too, like, we got to talk about the carry-on run later in the game where he just absolutely dump trucks Heath. Like, he gets the ball on a pitch out to the right and just when this guy gets his speed going, he's speed and power. He just absolutely lit up Heath, put him looking at the lights. I think he was out of the game after that to cut it to 17 for the Lions, 20 Cowboys. That was huge. I don't know. And then we just let's talk long form about this pass to Zeke that basically like sealed the game. They hadn't run it ever. Me and Grifka broke it down when it happened. They never run Zeke on these type of routes. They do on this play. Dak throws an incredible ball. Willie Mays over the shoulder. Like, Chuck, tell me about that, man.
Yeah, it was a really good call. It surprised me because, like you said, Linehan didn't call it all year, and he didn't call it again after that. So I don't know if it was something that he saw during the game that, hey, this would work. But, they didn't call it before that. They didn't call it after that. I don't know if that was, like I said, an in-game decision that they decided to make. But, yeah, it was a heck of a catch and a pretty good pass by Dak, surprisingly.
And you got to talk as a Cowboy fan. Like, Zeke, he's good on screens once they're set up, but he's not the surest handed. He catches it when it's there, but I see him with drops sometimes. This was a hard ball to catch. It was up over the top of him. It was really far downfield. You don't see many running backs get that far downfield, try to catch a ball up over their shoulder like that. So I was just shocked by not only that they went there, but the execution by the quarterback and the running back to make this play. Grifka, any thoughts on this big play that basically sealed it for him?
You know what I thought about it. I thought I had this argument with another one of my friends, like linebackers always cover running backs. And I'm just like, yeah, it happens like when they start in the backfield and they split out. Zeke was split out from the jump. And they moved Davis out there on him. And it was a good call by the Cowboys because everybody knew that Davis couldn't cover a pass. So, it's like, okay, it's the matchup they wanted, and they left him in there, to have him, get burned. And yeah, they never ran it, but still, he was lined up out in the slot already. It wasn't a wheel route, and he didn't start in the backfield and move, motion out to the slot. No, he started out there, and they still put, Davis was still out there. So I thought it was
he was out wide from the start.
Bad defensive call, and I much rather would have had a defensive back on him than our uncoverable linebacker in Jared Davis.
Oh, boy. Okay, Chuck, again, this is where I kind of get after Grifka. So you're ragging on Jared Davis, but I'm sure you went back and watched this highlight. Did you really think that he was like didn't have good coverage on this play? Like, I feel like he was right there. It was just a perfect ball, perfect catch. He's right there on Zeke.
You mean he's like in his back pocket? Is that what you're talking about?
You're claiming
he was by him, but he never turned his head around to look for the ball. Something that defensive back with ball skills knows what to do. So
he's not a defensive back; he's a middle linebacker, and
exactly.
he's running
That's
40 yards down the
been
field.
On him. Do we need to argue about this again?
Well, yeah, because you were acting like, he's 5 yards off and got toasted, and he didn't.
But he's not very good in coverage.
Yeah, we've established that, but don't kill him on this one where he was in his back pocket.
He didn't have his
was
head,
right there.
Yeah, he was behind him, so I guess technically he was in his back pocket, but he was still Zeke had him by a step. And yeah, Dak made a great pass, but he never turned his head around.
I thought it was a little underthrown.
Elliott's looking back at the ball. It's not like it was a timing route where the ball's thrown before the wide receiver even breaks. No, Elliott has his head turned around looking for the ball, and Davis is still looking at him. He never turns his head around and looks for the ball. Yeah, it was a great pass. It was. But to sit there and, he still missed the play. He shouldn't have been covering him. Put a defensive back on him who knows to turn the dang head around.
So we should have had a D schemed up to cover Zeke running 40 yards down the right sideline when they've never done that ever. We should.
You mean when a running back's lined up in the slot? Yes.
Okay.
When they have to go down the field? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
In
know it
perfect
goes
football,
against your favorite boy Davis, and I know you don't like Mother Goose calling defenses, but still, yes, they should have had another DB out there. They had to go downfield. They weren't going to truck the ball down there with the run. And Jared Davis is not a 3-down linebacker. I realize he's fast, but the guy couldn't cover a coffee table. So, sorry.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. So, like I say, to me, that was a great play by the Cowboys, as much as it hurts me to say that. I felt like the Lions played huge. I did skip over that incredible 45-yard TD ball by Matt Stafford, just an absolute perfect ball between the corner and the safety, right to GT in stride. He pranced in the end zone. That was huge. And, this is where I get with the Lions. That should have won the game. I mean, I know, Chuck, you're like, all right, we got time. We'll come back and win this. But, when they threw that ball, it was like a momentum swing where it was kind of like, all right, go out and play defense and win this football game. That was a hell of a throw by your quarterback. Like you said, GT, 132, 2 TDs, having an absolute great ball game. And the Lions let you dink and dunk your way down the field and make that one big play to ice it with a field goal. I mean, that was my big takeaway is, until this team can start ending games like that, it's still going to be a struggle. And the Cowboys, at home, which, again, is an advantage, but they stepped up and won this game more so than Lions losing it. But the Lions didn't put the nail in after their offense really made an absolute great play to take the lead late. I mean, it was – I don't know if I have it here. I think you got the ball back with only a couple minutes left and some timeouts. 2:12 and 2 timeouts I think I have here.
Sounds about right.
The D couldn't come up. I mean, that play to Zeke was with minute 17 left, and it was a second down play, 2nd and 10. So, I mean, you make 1 or 2 plays there on defense, it's ball game. So, like I say, I think the Cowboys won this. The Lions didn't necessarily lose it, but in that big moment, they didn't step up, and we've seen that too many times. I mean, I'd throw it to Grifka, but like you say, he'd go back to the 90s and tell us all the times that they fell short, but we all know that it's happened way too much. So, anything else on this ball game, fellas, from top to bottom? I mean, win for the Cowboys, loss for our Lions, 4th game of the year. I mean, it was a big swing for the Lions, no doubt.
I have a question for Chuck, considering I was sitting there with you. Just
Sure.
How much doubt was in your head that the Cowboys were going to come back and win that game after Golden Tate scored that touchdown?
Well, you know how I feel about Dak Prescott. So
He's good.
Well,
I know you hate on him, but he's pretty good, man.
I don't hate on him.
And he's cheap.
Yeah.
Here we go. And he's cheap.
Right now.
I honestly, I was thinking that was game. I thought, Dak was going to come out, try to do something and throw one of his, throwing off his back leg throws that are short by 20 yards and, somebody picking it off. But, they came out, called the right play, and he threw a good pass. As much as I knock on him, I couldn't knock on that throw. And
I want to say he made a big 3rd down throw too. I don't have that here, but didn't he? I think he made a 3rd down throw that was to Hearns or the rookie and moved some chains there too before that play to Zeke.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he had Gallup on a couple plays. Gallup
right.
stepped up during that game, had some good catches. Hearns had a couple. What I call is the Hearns slant because that's about all he runs.
Yep.
And he had a couple of those and. Like I said, I was pretty shocked, at Dak's poise and that little drive. But, I had doubts.
Yeah, I mean, I know you get frustrated with him, but once they pay him like 20-some million and he's your guy for the next 5 to 8 years, I can see where you can be a little bit more harsh on him. But like right now, as long as Zeke's going, I mean, they're able to win games with him at quarterback, I think. And like I say, nobody's perfect at the quarterback position, but I mean, he could always be better. But he stepped up in this game. He had some struggles mid-year, but then he played real big for you at the end of the year. So,
Well, I think that came about with getting a big time receiver that I had to eat crow on.
Yeah. I got that text message saved between me and you, buddy, where you just hated it, and I told you that this guy's a ball player. He's young, and like you say, it's a big draft asset, but this guy is almost like getting a 23-year-old top receiver. I mean, it worked out. So
yeah, I ate crow for that for sure. But with Amari Cooper playing the way he is, and Zeke, that can win games for us.
Yeah. Hold on, this is where I throw it to Grifka. Hey, Grifka, what did you think about that Amari Cooper trade?
I thought it was a good trade. I mean, he's first-round talent.
Oh, don't make us go back in the tape where you hated that deal. You were like,
I would actually prefer
that's way
if you
too
did,
much.
because I don't. You always say go back to the tape and check, but you never do. Because no, I didn't hate it because he's first-round talent.
You were like, oh, a first round, that's a lot to give up. But Jerry Jones, he just does whatever, and it won't. It's too much to give up. I believe that's what you said, but.
Yeah, I would prefer actually if you went back and checked the tape. For all the time's sake, go back and check the tape, because I don't think you ever do, because you bust on me for it. But that's when you let the Kool-Aid drink. Oh, because they don't go back and check either. So I would appreciate it if you did, because no, I thought that was a good trade. So okay,
maybe I'll waste my time and go back and
please do. And if I'm wrong, I'll pro on it. But because you say that a lot, go back and check, Mike. You were wrong.
Well, the only time you pipe up is when you know you were right, like once every blue moon. So I got to call you out sometimes. I mean, we'll never hear from you.
You're the guy that goes to the horse track. That's every horse to win. When the horse wins, see, I won. Well, congratulations. You picked every horse to win. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're the guy that after the race says, oh, I would have picked number 6 who won. Like, no one cares after the race, Grifka. Like, it's just a waste of time to say who would have won later.
You'll be the person who'll be like, well, that horse is a 5-2 favorite. And you're like, see, he's a good horse. And he's a good horse. I told you he was going to be a good horse, like when he came out. He's an awesome horse. So,
Hey, we're arguing over a Cowboys player. You guys know that, right?
Yeah, this is what we do on the show, because Grifka gets away with stuff, and then he tries to call me out on everything, and it's like, no, it doesn't work that way.
It's easy to call you out on everything because you never talk bad about anybody, and everybody's great. So,
yep, every show. That's all I say. Yep, Jeff Swain, All-Pro, Hall of Famer. So, hey, Chuck.
I just said the lines don't cover him, and he went off. It's Jeff Swain. He had 3 catches, averaged 11 yards, almost 12 yards a catch, but.
Yeah,
it's okay, though.
He had 30 yards in the game. And to quote Grifka, Jeff Swain really took it to us. He had 39 yards in the game, 3 catches, and a 1-yard touchdown where he's uncovered. Like, you think I'm going to let that slide?
Jeff Swain. Yeah, Jeff Swain. Jeff Swain should have how many yards? He shouldn't have almost 40 yards receiving on 3 catches. Okay? So, yeah, Jeff Swain. Okay? Let's get that right.
That's a double bell for the double okay by Grifka. All right, man. Like I say, I'll never win with you, but it's all in good fun. We got to go back and forth here on the podcast. Now, Chuck, I know your time's a bit limited, but I'm not going to let you get away with just talking about this game. You were trying to be real nice to me and Grifka, even though I know you want to sort of shove it in our face, but you didn't really do that, so I appreciate that. But I still got to call you on the carpet. So I got some questions for you. You ready for these questions?
Sure.
All right, so first question. We might as well get into it. Be honest with the Kool-Aid audience, the Kool-Aid drinkers out there. I mean, that was a flag on Anthony Hitchens in the playoff game against Pettigrew, right? I mean, just admit it for the people. Hello?
Hello.
Do you have anything to say about that play?
I say it's a penalty because they threw the flag. They threw the flag for a reason, and it should have stayed. That's how it was. I mean, if they didn't throw a flag, then, I would probably think differently. I think it was a bang-bang play, but yeah, they threw the flag, and I think the flag should have stayed.
Okay, well, I have some exclusive audio that I just want to play here. We'll see how well you can hear it. I was able to get Matt Stafford's reaction to that play all these years later, and here's what he had to say.
Hey, that's unbelievable. Congratulations. It's unbelievable.
He also thought, like many of us, has there ever been a pass interference, let alone a penalty, where it's been thrown, marked off, ready for play, then all of a sudden, let's get together, picked up, and then reversed? Here's what you got to say about that.
I've never in the history seen one turned over. Congratulations, man. First time in the history that's happened.
First time in history that's happened. Congratulations. I don't know. There's funny clips from Matt Stafford, but I thought it was unbelievable as well. No congratulations is more like it, but absolute garbage call in my opinion. And Chuck, you were humble and sort of admitted it. So gotta get that off. All the Kool-Aid drinkers, a lifelong Dallas Cowboy fan, has admitted on the Detroit Kool-Aid cast that, yeah, that was a penalty and Lions got screwed. So I feel good about that. I'm glad we got that figured out. Next question. Does it hurt you to know that our one Lions playoff win since 1957 was against your Cowboys? Does that just eat you up every day when your alarm goes off in the morning?
Oh, absolutely not, because I think the next year we cleaned your clock and went to the Super Bowl.
But we have one win in the playoffs since 1957. One. And it's not against it's not against Tampa Bay. It's not against some Jacksonville Jaguars. It's against the America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. Ooh, and we beat you bad.
Look, it's strange about the Detroit Lions because they always play Dallas tough. No matter how good Dallas is, they always play Dallas tough. I remember, I'm going to pull a Grifka here. I remember a Monday Night Football game where it was Emmitt Smith against Barry Sanders, the Super Bowl winning Dallas Cowboys against a mediocre Lions team. And the Lions end up winning that game. And Barry had, something ridiculous, like 220 yards rushing. Emmitt had like 190 yards rushing. They were right back by each other. But there's something with the Lions where, for some reason, they play very well against the Dallas Cowboys. And I just don't know what it is. The only time, like I said, I've ever seen the Lions not play well against Dallas is when Dallas went on to win that Super Bowl and got the Lions, I believe, in the first round of that playoffs where they ended up beating them like 37-3 or something. And that's about the only time I've never seen Detroit not play Dallas well.
All right. Well, yeah, you get a second Chuck Bell for that one, because that would be a Grifko where he'd say, like, this team always plays good against us, only it's like over half the league. So that leads me to my next question. We already kind of talked about it. Grifka, feel free to chime in here, but I have here, how do you feel, Chuck, about Grifka always whining and complaining about the Cowboys getting favored by the NFL and all the other teams? I mean, it's a classic bit on the show. The people love it, but tell us a little bit more about what you think about it, and if Grifka should keep up this bit he's been doing for about a couple decades now.
Well, I would say maybe back in the day that was probably pretty accurate, but it's not that way anymore.
Just because Jared Jones can't keep his mouth shut, you think that Goodell and him hate each other now?
Well, yeah. I mean, they suspended their running back for 6 games for doing nothing. His ex-girlfriend was caught lying, and they actually are going after her for lying, but yet he still gets suspended for 6 games. That's just part of Goodell, how much he just hates Jerry Jones right now. And, Jerry Jones is one of the couple owners that went against Goodell getting a new contract. So now they don't get any calls now.
I don't know about that. I think that they had to go through that process with Zeke, but I think you're right. At the end of the day, it kind of proved to be nothing, and you can't get those games back where he was back and forth or sitting out or wherever the case was. But, Jerry Jones makes billions of dollars for the NFL, so I think he's still one of the top favored owners, but I'm never one to sort of, we always get screwed in this team, but the Lions have had some tough breaks, no doubt about it. Grifka, if you're still alive, would you like to retort to Chuck about this classic quote you often have on our show about the Lions getting screwed by the refs and other teams getting favored?
They do. It's an entertainment league. That's why was it the Cowboys are always like either the one of the main games on Sunday or the Sunday night game or the Monday night game. They just they draw a lot of fans. If they had the fan base of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they you'd never see them on TV and they wouldn't get said calls. But it happens that way. They're a favorite team. They're liked. That's what they are.
Oh, well, like you say, we're always gonna have that on the show, and I know it's something to always talk about. But like you say, the NFL, man, they're always creating controversy, no doubt about it. So, Chuck, just a couple more quick ones for you before we get out of here. This is a personal one between me and you. Do you remember the game? It's the one game that me and you went to at Ford Field. It
Yes,
happened
I
to be
do.
your Cowboys against my Lions.
Jason Witten.
Hold on, I'm teeing it up here. So the whole game, we're sitting in the end zone. You're like, you're happy to see your team. I'm like, the Lions were not very good at that point. I mean, I think this was before 0-16, but it was just cool. We finally got it worked out, and you got all your busy life. My busy, we were like, man, let's get together for this game. So you made the trip down. I remember getting in there, having the fun, watching this football game. Man, my Lions come out of the gate playing good football. I mean, this is the Tony Romo days. I think he's having kind of an off day. Lions are winning this game. Before I can blink, late in the fourth quarter, here comes the Cowboys. They start driving. They're kind of coming down, and I'm getting the Grifka-itis from going, oh, no. This doesn't feel good, but I'm going to believe in my team. I mean, kill me for being positive, people. I'm like, we're going to win this game somehow. And then there was the post route, as you said already, to Jason Witten. He ran the old classic Jason Witten out, run to the post, right up the seam. Tony Romo threw that perfect throw that he always put right on his numbers there for a touchdown. Basically ended the game. I can't remember how much time was left, but it was like a walk-off shot, and you were just taunting fans and giving me the business, and I just did not want to hear it. So you remember that? You got any comments on it?
Wasn't that the game where Paris Lennon kicked the ball back to the Cowboys, where there was a fumble and Paris Lennon, instead of falling on it, which would have won the game, he wants to be a Barney Bad Butt and like pick up the ball and run for a touchdown. Instead, he kicks it back to Dallas, and Dallas falls on it. Wasn't that game?
Yep.
That sounds about right. I mean, how dare you bring up Paris Lennon. Paris Lennon. I just always couldn't get over his first name.
On it. Nope, you want to pick it up and run with it.
You got to remember during that game, though, how much crap you and the fans were giving me that whole time. You had somebody behind me just talking in my ear the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
The whole time. And then finally when Dallas comes up, I jump up, and they get all mad at me because I'm celebrating.
Yeah, well, that probably was your jersey and your hat and all the other gear you had on. I mean, I told you to rep your team, but, like, not right at the end when we got stabbed in the heart and took an L. So you're right. I mean, yeah, I'm going to give it to you anytime. Like, you're taking my tickets this year when Dallas comes. Like, I probably won't be with you at that game, but if I was, yeah, I'd be right in your ear too. Like, that's what we do. But, yeah, you had the last laugh on this day, no doubt about it.
Do or die, I rep the team.
Yeah, gotta support the team. Classic Seinfeld, but that was a classic memory, man. So I got one last one for you. This is a really tough question. Are you ready?
Yeah.
My final question for you on the Detroit Kool-Aid Cast, this podcast: who is the best running back of all time, and why is it Barry? Go.
It's Walter Payton.
What?
If you want my honest truth, it's Walter Payton. To me, Barry was a great running back. You know, probably one of the best pure runners there is in the game. But for me, it's Walter Payton. Walter Payton did, and I don't like the Bears one bit, but Walter Payton was a heck of a player. He did everything for that team. You know, he even played quarterback a couple times for that team because they had some injuries. That guy could do it all.
Oh, I absolutely hate that answer because, one, you should have said your boy 22, so we could have went back and forth, but you took the Netherlands pick, which is in the middle, like, so that people can't hate you, but you should still give your email out so you can send those hate tweets to Chuck for not giving Barry his due. But Grifka, you got anything to say about this? I mean, come on. I thought it was between 22 in Dallas and Barry, and then Chuck Dog goes with the safe pick of Walter Payton. I mean, what do you think here? There's no debate.
Considering, well, here, get the bell out. You know, I have to say Walter Payton as well because I remember watching him as a kid and just jaw drop. But I mean, number 2 is going to be Barry Sanders, but number 3 to me is even, was Jim Brown, and all I saw was highlights. But so I mean,
get him, Chuck. He just put your boy Emmett. Like, he's probably not in the top 10.
Dude, let's put it this way: Chuck knows Jim Brown is like badass because, one, when Franco Harris was like going for some rushing thing, Jim Brown was like, okay, I'm going to come out of retirement so I can still run the ball. And he probably still could have. And two, me and Chuck once saw Jim Brown in the Las Vegas airport, and we didn't want to go near him because he could still kick our ass. Okay, so yeah, so he ain't gonna get me on that.
Well, I'm a big fan of Emmitt Smith, but he, to me, I'm gonna keep it real. I don't even think he's number one on the Cowboys running backs.
What?
Nope.
Like, isn't Emmett your boy? Like, ever since I've known you for decades now. Like, you're always repping, Emmett and Michael Irv, all these guys, and now you're not pulling for your guy? I mean, this is the podcast. You should at least be just bowed up talking about your guy. I mean, come on.
The triplets were a bad team. They did their thing. But my favorite running back with Dallas is Tony Dorsett. Easily said and done.
Greatest Broncos running back of all time.
Never happened.
Oh my gosh, this is taking a turn for the worst here. I thought we were gonna have a 5-minute battle between Barry and Emmett, and here we're just getting this love fest for all these other guys. So this went bad on me, but like I say, Detroit Kool-Aid cast. They tell Grifka this every week. The people are dialed up, wanting to hear some Lions Kool-Aid. So to me, even kind of before my time as a Lions absolute diehard, I mean, you see these highlights and these stats that Barry Sanders put up in his limited career. I mean, yeah, we can turn back the hands of time to all these old running backs, but to me, when you just look at what they did in the time they were there, I mean, this guy put on a show. He was absolutely incredible. So all you Kool-Aid drinkers out there, again, just for the podcast, I mean, I'm going to take Barry Sanders as the greatest running back of all time. And again, that comes to me, as Grifko always says, like, yeah, I like to be entertained. Yes, I like the highlight reel plays. And this guy did it better than anybody. I mean, could you imagine if he played another 5+ years in the NFL? He'd have every record by a long way. So, give me Barry. You guys can have all your old folks there that you're talking about. I mean, respect to those guys. Like you say, Jim Brown, everybody knows he was an absolute beast. How would he do in today's NFL? I mean, probably be incredible, but we'll never know. And then, Walter Payton was a stud too. But I think, the debate is always between either Barry and Emmett or some of these other guys when they're talking about the greatest of all time, especially when you break it down with stats and whatnot. So that's my take. Chuck Dog, we talked about Lions Cowboys. We've had some fun. We've talked about the Super Bowl coming up. Looking forward to that. And I beat you up here and there on some Lions Cowboys questions here at the end. You got anything else before we get out of here?
No, I just want to appreciate everybody for allowing me on here. I know this is a Detroit Kool-Aid cast, and I try to keep it as respectable I can because this is your guys' podcast. But go Cowboys.
Oh man, well, it's been super fun having you. Like I say, it's you were very respectable, almost too much so. I really wanted to put the boxing gloves on and fight it out a little more than we got to, but you were a great guest here on the show. I'm sure the people will respect and enjoy you being on the show. I know you and Grifka have been buddies for years and years before I knew you. It's just been a pleasure, man, to call you a friend and get to know you over the years. And we always had fun battling it out about our sports teams and sports takes and all that stuff. So it's just been cool all these years later to have you on the podcast. It's just a little fun thing that we do a couple times a week here. So it's been awesome, man.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
No problem. This is at the very end where I say, hey, Grifka, you got anything else for the people, man, before we get out of here?
Nope.
And then that's Grifka's normal response, and then I bring it home. So everybody, thank you so much for listening. Chuck, again, thanks for being on. We're going to be back at you guys next week. And I didn't do it last week, but I promise everybody I'm going to try to hit you up over the weekend with a Senior Bowl and some draft talk, kind of do a separate podcast, so be on the lookout for that. But thank you, everybody, for listening. Drink it in, man. Subscribe on iTunes. Share this with a friend. Chuck, thanks again. We'll have to have you back on another time. And everybody, for the Detroit Kool-Aid cast, for Chuck, for Grifka, for myself, we're going to get out of here. Take care, everybody. See you next week.
Well, I'll tell you, there's going to be lots of talk about the officiating in this playoff game with the Cowboys and the Lions, specifically about the play with 8:25 to go in the fourth quarter, 3rd and 1 from the Dallas 46. It's a pass from Matthew Stafford to Brandon Pettigrew. And I'll tell you, he had interference called against Anthony Hitchens. Interference called, interference announced, and then interference picked up. Well, I'll tell you, I watch a lot of football, see a lot of plays. To me, you can't pick that flag up. Hitchens was not playing the ball, shoved with his left arm first. Pettigrew came back and tried to get to the ball, couldn't. That's pass interference and was correctly called on the field. And actually, it was defensive holding also because Pettigrew got his jersey grabbed and stretched as he tried to get off the line of scrimmage. So a huge break for the Cowboys in that situation. Now, there will be discussion. You know, this was not a regular crew that had been together for 15 weeks of the regular season. They were guys that hadn't worked together all season. Did that affect them? You know, did that cause more conversation than they would normally have? Who knows? All I know is this. The Cowboys caught a huge, huge break.
Hey, that's unbelievable. Congratulations. It's unbelievable.
Pack the bag, start the plane. This game is over. It is over. What a comeback by the Lions. Drink it in, man.
Hey, that's unbelievable. Congratulations. It's unbelievable.